Hello everyone. The year 2024 became a year full of surprises in Russia. A country known for its long history as a land predominantly inhabited by Orthodox Christian followers, now witnessed an unexpected transformation. Over time, Islam began to show its strong influence in the country. It wasn't just in traditional areas with large Muslim populations like Tatarstan and Bashkortostan, but also in major cities like Moscow, St. Petersburg, and even the distant Siberia. It all began with a wave of spiritual awakening that swept through many young Russians. Many of them, who once had no strong religious affiliation, began to seek deeper meaning in their lives. Many felt empty and fulfilled by the fast-paced, materialistic life. Along with this unease, the teachings of Islam arrived with a message of peace that touched their hearts. It wasn't just about worship, but about a way of life that was more balanced, peaceful, and connected to something greater. The spread of Islam in Russia grew even more massive thanks to the active efforts of many individuals and Muslim communities who became more courageous in appearing on social media. On platforms like YouTube and Instagram, videos of religious preaching that explained the essence of living as a Muslim caught the attention of many young people. They were inspired by stories of those who had embraced Islam and how the religion brought them peace and purpose in life. Many Russians were captivated by the concepts of Islam, which teach peace, justice, and mutual respect. Some even began to seek more knowledge, attend religious lectures, and read literature about Islam. In major cities, many Islamic study centers began to grow rapidly. Even in the heart of Grand Moscow, an Islamic educational institution was established to serve those who wanted to learn more about the religion. Even more interestingly, many well-known figures in Russia, whether in the arts, sports, or politics, embraced Islam. They had an extraordinary impact on raising public awareness. With their prominence, they were able to open the eyes of many people, showing that Islam was not something foreign or frightening, but a way of life offering peace and well-being. Amid the increase in the Muslim population, the Russian government showed a more open and tolerant stance towards Islam. Vladimir Putin, the president, who has long been known for his firm policies, began to show his support for religious diversity in Russia. He acknowledged that Islam was part of Russia's long history and culture. The presence of Muslims, who have long existed in regions like the Caucasus and Tatarstan, was now increasingly accepted as an inseparable part of Russia's national identity. In 2024, Putin even held several important meetings with Muslim religious leaders. He openly supported policies that accommodate the needs of the Muslim community, such as building new mosques, expanding Islamic educational centers, and providing more space for Muslims to freely practice their faith. One of the most striking moments in 2024 was the increase in the number of Russians embracing Islam. In many major cities, every day there were stories of someone deciding to convert to Islam after learning more about the teachings of the religion. It wasn't just among the youth, but also adults, even successful professionals in their fields. The touching stories of those who chose to embrace Islam inspired many people. One such story was that of Anton, an engineer in Moscow, who revealed that he found true peace after studying Islam. "I felt the world was full of noise and restlessness. When I began to understand Islam, I felt a calmness that came. I knew I had finally found the path I had been searching for," he said, with tears in his eyes. This phenomenon even garnered international attention. Some foreign media reported on the surge of converts to Islam in Russia. Some even referred to it as the Islamic wave, happening amidst Russian culture, which has traditionally adhered to Orthodox Christianity. This rapid development of Islam was not something that happened overnight. Since the early 10th century, Islam began to enter Russia through trade, contact with Muslim regions, and territorial conquests. Regions such as Volga, Bulgaria, and the Caucasus had long been home to Muslim communities. Despite many challenges and obstacles throughout history, such as the Tsarist Russian oppression that sought to suppress the expansion of Islam, the religion has survived and developed in Russia. Now, in 2024, after centuries of journey, Islam has found a greater place in the hearts of the Russian people. The increasing recognition of religious diversity by the government has opened wider spaces for Muslims to grow, and many Russians now feel that Islam provides them with an answer to a more meaningful life. With all these developments, the year 2024 marks the beginning of a new era for Muslims in Russia. Islam is increasingly accepted as part of the larger society, and their story has only just begun. March 1, 2025, was a day that will be remembered in Russian history. Moscow, the capital known for its immense power, became the center of an extraordinary event that caught the attention of the world. The largest Iftar gathering in the world was held at Red Square, a place full of historical and political symbols of Russia, now filled with thousands of Muslims from all corners of the country. It wasn't just a religious event, but a new symbol of togetherness, peace, and diversity, embracing all segments of society, both Muslim and non-Muslim. Russian President Vladimir Putin, known for his firm policies, not only witnessed this historic moment but also participated in celebrating interfaith harmony in this vast country. In the midst of the crowd at Red Square, President Putin stood calmly, wearing a formal suit. Though he is the leader of a country with vast power, that night he seemed like part of the Muslim community present, celebrating Ramadan with respect. In front of thousands of people, he delivered a heartfelt speech. Ramadan is a month filled with blessings. Not only for Muslims, but for all of us. This is a time to strengthen the bonds of brotherhood, to share with one another, and to show that despite our differences, we remain one as a nation. Islam is a part of Russia's history, and we are proud to celebrate this holy month together, Putin said with a warm voice. This speech not only touched the hearts of Muslims but also earned applause from many non-Muslims in attendance. This moment symbolized a significant shift in Russia's political view of Islam, as well as the country's commitment to fostering tolerance and unity. The Iftar gathering at Red Square attracted not only the citizens of Moscow but also thousands of people from other Russian cities who traveled great distances to attend. They came from various backgrounds, ages, and professions, but all had one common goal: to celebrate peace and unity during the holy month of Ramadan. The participants sat in long rows at tables adorned with traditional iftar dishes. There was pilaf rice, kebabs, dates, and many other delicious dishes prepared with love by Muslim communities across Russia. The cool air that evening added warmth to the atmosphere, while the sun slowly set behind Moscow's towers, signaling that it was time to break the fast. Amid the excitement of the iftar, there was one moment that stood out. A young man named Timur, who had recently embraced Islam a few months prior, stood near the dining table. His eyes were filled with emotion as he looked at the people around him. For Timur, this was his first time breaking the fast at such a large event, and he felt incredibly grateful to experience such a great sense of unity. "I never imagined I would be here, at Red Square, with thousands of people sharing happiness," Timur said, his voice trembling. "Islam has changed my life, giving me a peace I never felt before. And now, I can celebrate Ramadan in such a special way." Next to Timur, there was Olga, a mother who had previously been an Orthodox Christian but decided to embrace Islam a few months ago. "When I first entered this religion, it felt like I was beginning a new journey. Ramadan has taught me to be more patient, more compassionate, and most importantly, to live more peacefully," she said with a genuine smile. "Today, I celebrate not only as a Muslim but also as part of a larger Russian society." This largest iftar gathering didn't stop at just dining together. On this blessed evening, many stories were shared among individuals from different backgrounds. There were smiles, laughter, and a sense of togetherness that transcended the barriers of difference. Ramadan, which is usually celebrated by Muslims, had now become a moment that united many people, regardless of their religion. Putin also fully understood that this event was more than just a religious ritual. It was a symbol of peace, a reminder that despite Russia being a country of great diversity, unity is the key to building a strong and cohesive nation. By attending this event, he showed that Islam, like all religions, has a place in this great country of Russia. Russia is a country of many religions, many cultures, and many histories. But we all share one important value: love for this country and for one another. That is what makes us strong, Putin emphasized. The largest iftar gathering ended with warmth and a deep sense of unity. However, for many of those who attended, that evening left an unforgettable impression. It was a night that didn't only celebrate the holy month of Ramadan but also celebrated life, celebrated diversity, and celebrated unity. For Muslims, it was a moment where they felt recognized and valued by their country, while for non-Muslim citizens, it was an opportunity to learn more about the culture and teachings of Islam, which are full of peace. This was a celebration showing that in Russia, differences are not an obstacle but a strength to build a more harmonious society. After the world's largest Iftar gathering at Red Square, Ramadan 2025 in Russia became a new symbol of the growing religious life. It wasn't just a time for worship, but also an opportunity to strengthen interfaith relations and demonstrate how Islam has become an inseparable part of Russian society. Diversity, which has long been a sensitive topic, was now viewed from a different perspective, a strength that enriches social and cultural life. In 2025, religious life among Muslims in Russia reached its peak. Thousands of people who had embraced Islam in 2024 were now becoming more steadfast in practicing their faith. Many of them not only fulfilled their religious duties but also became actively involved in deepening their understanding of Islam. Mosques across Russia, once quiet, were now filled with worshippers attending religious lectures, sermons, and Quranic studies. In Moscow, an Islamic educational institution that was once small and modest had rapidly grown into a well-known center for religious studies. This center not only offered lessons on the basic teachings of Islam but also provided courses on Islamic history, interfaith relations, and even social sciences from an Islamic perspective. Society began to feel the benefits of this education, not only in their spiritual lives but also in their daily lives, providing a deeper perspective on social values such as justice, brotherhood, and compassion. A woman named Irina, who had embraced Islam a year earlier, described how deepening her religious knowledge gave her newfound strength in life. "Islam has given me a broader view of life," she said. "Not just to go through daily routines, but to build better relationships with others, to care more for those around me, and most importantly, to live in peace." In addition to the growth of religious education, Muslims in Russia were becoming more organized in various social activities. In every major city, Muslim communities began to form organizations that aimed not only to strengthen Islamic brotherhood but also to contribute to the welfare of the broader society. In Moscow, the Muslim community worked together with charitable organizations to establish social assistance centers. They organized food distribution for the needy, provided shelter for the homeless, and offered help to orphan children. These activities were fully supported by the government, which now recognized the importance of the active role of Muslims in creating a more compassionate society. These social programs not only improved the quality of life for those receiving assistance but also strengthened the bond between Muslims and non-Muslim citizens. In every social activity, both Muslims and non-Muslims worked side by side, showing that Islam is not just a religion that teaches ritual worship, but also one that emphasizes care for others. One of the most notable phenomena in 2025 was the increased role of more open and modern da'wah, Islamic preaching. Both local and international da'is, Islamic preachers, became more active in using digital platforms such as YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok to spread the message of Islam in ways that were more relevant and engaging to the younger generation. Many young Russians, who had previously shown little interest in religion, began to access da'wah content that touched their hearts, giving them a deeper understanding of Islam. On social media, a young preacher named Artur, born and raised in Moscow, attracted thousands of followers with his simple yet meaningful da'wah videos. "Da'wah doesn't always have to be with heavy and complicated words," he said. "I just want to share how Islam changed my life, and how it teaches us to be better, more patient, and more caring for others." Through digital da'wah, Islam was increasingly accepted by many young people who were seeking a more meaningful way of life. They felt connected to the teachings of Islam, which not only taught them the obligations of worship but also provided guidance relevant to the challenges of the modern world. Along with the rise of religious life among Muslims, there was also a positive shift in interfaith relations in Russia. In 2025, many Muslim communities were active in fostering relationships with followers of other religions, such as Orthodox Christians, Jews, and others. Interfaith dialogue became more open, with religious communities understanding that differences were not an obstacle but rather an opportunity to enrich each other. The Russian government, under Putin's leadership, continued to promote initiatives to strengthen interfaith relations. On several occasions, Putin held meetings with religious leaders to discuss ways to maintain peace and harmony among religious groups in Russia. One important initiative was the formation of an interfaith forum that brought together Muslims and members of other religious groups to share experiences and collaborate on various social projects. Ultimately, the phenomenon of people embracing Islam in Russia was not just about increasing numbers but about how Islam was beginning to be seen as a part of the broader social fabric. Muslims in Russia were no longer viewed as a minority religious group but as an integral part of the larger society, actively contributing to the country's development. In various corners of Moscow, St. Petersburg, and even Siberia, Muslims were seen living their lives with peace. They prayed devoutly, carried out their obligations responsibly, and actively participated in creating a better social life. Islam was no longer an isolated religion but one that was accepted, valued, and respected by all layers of society. With the growing religious life in Russia, Ramadan 2025 and the largest Iftar gathering at Red Square became symbols that the journey of Islam in this country had just begun. Islam was now not only a religion teaching peace and justice but also one that brought about positive social change for the entire nation. Looking ahead, many hope that Russia will become an example to the world, demonstrating how a large multicultural country can live together in peace and mutual understanding.